It's that time of year, whether I like it or not, that the state starts putting salt on the roads to keep the ice down. But if you're a vehicle lover, you know how much damage that does to the underneath. Tires throwing up the salt, just sits there and it just eats it away. Loves it. So I'm going to prevent that by undercoating it. But that's not what this video is about, because you can spray oil under there. It's that easy. Is I'm going to make a contraption to spray oil under there. My go-to to spray it for years has been this guy right here, which is just an airless sprayer. These are pretty cheap. This one was free, so it's even cheaper. But I don't know if I'd actually go out and buy one because they don't work that great. They always put the pickup in the front. So, because you're supposed to be spraying at this angle, maybe a little bit up, but mainly kind of down, spraying trim and other stuff like that. So, inevitably under a vehicle, you're spraying like this. So, unless this is like completely full, like all the time, you end up just cavitating, running air. These things are super noisy. I do have to dilute the motor oil almost 50% with diesel oil. So diesel fuel isn't oil, so I have to dilute it 50%, the motor oil. So there is a little bit of a cost there, but you don't put that much under your car. But I have to do that in order to make it be able to spray. I've also used, I have another one of these, a bigger one. This was something that was free with some weed and grass killer or something. But you pump it up, pressurize it, and you spray it out. It doesn't work great. It never does. You have to dilute it again with diesel oil. I drilled a whole bunch of extra little holes up in here, and it kind of just sprays out some streams and like dots. It doesn't atomize it and spray it. And so it does work because you'll just spray kind of the frame of the vehicle, and eventually over a week or so it completely just wicks around and coats everything. It's just slow, and you get a lot of drips and a lot of runoffs with that. So not my favorite. This one kind of is. But what I want to make is actually out of a mason jar, a contraption, and I just have this old chunky copper pipe. I didn't bend it up like that. It was just already bent up like this. Probably off an AC line. This is about 3/8 copper. I could use steel line or anything else. And what I want is to be able to attach a lid, fill this up with oil, attach this to the top of here, and attach my air line to it and spray and have it atomize and pick up the oil out of there and be able to reach way up under the car without having to crawl up under there. You know, just be able to kind of reach up under there like this and just spray everything under there. Blindly just do it so I'm not laying down getting oil drip back on me. So we're going to do that. So we need to make a venturi. So let's get started. So the idea is just to spray through here, have another piece attached, and have it just suck up the fluid from down here and go through there. But how do you make so when you're spraying air through here, it just doesn't spray air down there and out there? So it's called the venturi, and what you're doing is you're creating a low pressure zone. It's in a million carburetors, so I should have seen a million of these things. So this is kind of over exaggerated. So you have the air from the spray nozzle going down here. We have a pick it right here, and we have our fluid. So you have the air spraying into this chamber, spraying this way, and it backs up right here and creates a high pressure right here. It kind of backs up, pushes through, it's really tight, and then as it goes right here, it actually becomes super easy for it to come, becomes a low pressure, and so that actually is essentially a suction. So anything that's in here, it's wanting to suck even more because it's coming from here and expanding, so it actually sucks fluid. This is as far as I understand. That could be completely wrong, but sucks fluid from down here. So in a carburetor, this would be your gasoline, and pushes it along and mixes it with the air, atomizes it, and flows down there. That's what I need to do. So I have a solid pipe here, and all I did is I drilled one little hole. I was testing this out earlier. So I drilled a hole, stuck this in, put a gauge on the bottom to see if I was actually getting vacuum pressure. So I just took this this vacuum gauge actually for a vehicle, but this isn't necessary. I could actually just put my finger and feel when it was actually whether it's pressurizing or sucking. Wasn't that bad. So, but this kind of lets me dial it in. But then also, because this tube, I need this narrower spot. Don't really have a contraption to shrink this tube all the way around. So what I did is I just kind of flattened it. So I just took the hammer and just kind of flattened it. It's a smaller diameter in there now. And so it creates this little narrow passage. And so I'll just stick this hose right up in there, and we'll just blow right through. And you can watch the gauge. Up here is your vacuum, your inches of mercury. Down there is pressure. And so I found just playing around, getting it moving in and out, worked pretty decent. And then I decided to actually cut a taper on it. So I cut a 45-degree taper on it right there. And if I stick this so the air hits it on this side, it kind of surrounds it a little bit more and gives it a little bit better opportunity to vacuum up. And that actually worked pretty good. I ended up getting around upwards of 5 inches of mercury just doing this trick. So what I'm going to do is play around with it a little bit. You know, you can smash this down a little bit more. I'm going to play around with this until I get it where the suction is as high as possible, essentially, because that'll suck up even thicker oil. And then I'm just actually going to solder this, or solder if you're from over the pond. Should be good. Give it a second to set out, test it out. I'm pulling almost 7, even better. But now I just drill a hole in the lid for this. Probably towards the back side, over to one side. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got that one all soldered to the lid, and then I needed a vent, so I found this really thin stuff. I mean, that's maybe a 1/16 of an inch for AC, like a refrigerator. That's where you find this. And so I just took a little piece and wrapped it up on the other side of the lid and soldered it up here to help just make this whole thing extremely rigid. So now we should be able to just throw the lid on, get it on there. I mean, and we're not limited just to spraying oil. I could spray engine cleaner, a million different things up and under different things, but that's the idea. This is all soft copper that I can actually just bend any way I want, really, if I choose to go a different way. But the idea is, and we'll figure out a better way to attach this hose, but you'll just, you know, hold on to it right here, hold back here, and just spray. Okay, so I got it filled up with just regular motor oil. And now we can just go for it. And the idea is even cars that are super low to the ground, I don't have to jack them up or anything else. I can just methodically just go underneath. Lifting up my SUV here is no issue whatsoever, and it's already high. I can crawl under it as is. But a car like this that sits, you know, 7 inches off the ground, even if you put it on stands, it's still so low that you just absolutely get covered in oil. So hoping that this works good, where I can just That's the quickest I've ever done it. I didn't even have to crawl under the vehicle or anything, and it's all oiled up. Very few jips, so that's good. That actually worked out awesome. I got into crevices that I never was able to up under the frame, inside the frame rails, having the pickup at the back. I mean, I could turn it completely backwards and I can spray up on the inside of the fender wells, everything. Coated it nice. Didn't have to put on my oil clothes or anything to just get covered in it, because you're kind of under there and you're spraying back on you. So that worked out slick. Better than the airless sprayer, better than the weed pump sprayer thing, better than I've ever used before. So this is a good tool to have in my arsenal. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys soon. Bye. A built-in oiling system. It drips from precision orifices out of the oil retaining unit down onto the front axle and keeps it from ever rusting. Awesome.